like this before.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for X-Men Apocalypse. I was expecting a good movie, and I got one. And I'm very glad that I got a good movie going into this, really expecting a good movie. I mean, First Class was amazing. Days of Future Past was amazing. I was really hoping that Apocalypse could keep up that trend and just make this awesome. And you know what? I was super curious because Days of Future Past with the time traveling thing, spoiler alert, they changed the entire timeline, Jean and Scott alive, all this stuff. I was curious to see what is the new timeline. And this movie showed me what that was. And that was one of the things I really liked about it. One of the first things that kind of really sucked me in with this movie is just full of good characters. And one of the great things about this movie that I really enjoyed was seeing the full potential of a lot of these characters. You know, so many of the X-Men movies, they're still learning their powers, which they still are in this movie. A lot of the X-Men movies, they're holding back for all these different reasons. But in this movie, it felt like we kind of got to see the mutants pushed a little bit and got to see their full potential. I mean, there's obviously Apocalypse imbuing people with power, amplifying their power. So in some ways, we got to see it that way. But we got to see some stuff from Magneto that I don't think was amplified by Apocalypse. And I was just, wow, it was awesome. So like there's several cool places where we get to see a lot of characters like real potential. And to me, that was really cool to watch. So there were a lot of great characters in this, including Jean. And young Jean was portrayed by Sansa Stark, Game of Thrones girl. She was really good as Jean. Like I really enjoyed it. I like that we didn't see her first come to the school. Like where this movie picks up, she's already in the school. She's already exploring her powers. She and Charles having similar powers. They've already begun this walk together. So that was really kind of cool. And then you just get to watch her grow and her powers grow from there. And she did a really great job. I really enjoyed watching her in this role. Quicksilver. Oh my goodness. Quicksilver. He was one of my absolute favorite characters in Days of Future Past, and they just made him like even more awesome in this movie. Now there's a part of it, like there's this really long Quicksilver scene that is kind of similar to what we saw in Days of Future Past, where everything kind of stood still and he was moving around all over the place. They did it awesome. Like, it's Quicksilver, and it was awesome. Quicksilver, you rock. You have seriously become my favorite X-Man. Holy cow. And Scott was a cool character. I don't really know what else to say about Scott because, I don't know. I don't want to cross into spoiler territory since this is a spoiler-free review. And I don't know that I've seen the actor playing Scott before. Maybe I haven't recognized him, but he did a great job. He was really good at that role, and it was just kind of cool to watch him and Jean meet and all that fun stuff. And Angel was a cool character to see, but you know, like in X-Men 3, we didn't really get too much of Angel. But I feel like in this movie, we did get more into Angel. We got more into who he was, but we didn't get totally there. So whereas there's a lot of other characters we got to see their potential, I feel like Angel was not one of them. He was definitely there. He was definitely one of the Four Horsemen. He did not have a lot of lines. It was a really good tie-in to bring Apocalypse into the universe. He was such a masterful villain, played by Poe Dameron from Star Wars Episode 7. That dude as an actor, it's really cool to watch him go from that lovable character Poe from Episode 7 to this Antichrist, and he was like an Antichrist-like figure, to this like evil dude Apocalypse, and the way he portrayed that so manipulative and charismatic, and it was good. But the whole story, the way it was written, the way it was built around him, the way they kind of just showed us how the timeline has changed since Days of Future Past, the way they did certain things with certain characters, it was so well done. Now, I feel like there were some places in this movie where they rushed some things. And I feel like they rushed some things because there was a lot of stuff going on in this movie. There wasn't a lot going on like in X-Men 3 where they like crammed several comic book lines into one movie. There was just a lot going on because it's such an epic story and they're trying to make sure they told it. So to me, there were some places that felt a little rushed, But if you were to ask me specifically what those places were, I literally just saw the movie and I cannot remember. I just know I felt it in a few places, but the movie was like really good. The characters were really good and I was really invested in it. So some of those places where it felt like they rushed things just to move the plot along a little bit, it didn't bother me because I quickly forgot because I was pretty invested into what was going on. So really, overall, I think it was a well-told story. Bryan Singer did a great job directing this and bringing this whole thing to life. So really, in the end, I give this movie 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. It's got that rewatchability factor. Like, I already want to go see it again. When it comes out on Blu-ray, I am buying that thing. I really did enjoy this movie. I don't feel like it was as good as Captain America Civil War. Like, it did not reach that level. But it was still really good, and it was really fun, and it's just a cool ensemble X-Men movie, and it felt like an authentic X-Men movie. If you saw X-Men Apocalypse, what are your thoughts on the movie? How many stars out of 5 would you give it? Be sure to let me know in the comments. I'm Durbin. Thank you so much for checking out Durbania.